Here's a quick disclaimer. The views, statements, and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers. The statements are not intended to be product claims or medical advice. Hi, Diana Frike here. I'm the host of the Gooder podcast, where I get to talk to the powerhouse women in the food, beverage, and wellness categories about their journeys to success and their insights on the industry. This episode is brought to you by Retail Voodoo, a brand development firm. Our clients include Starbucks, Kind, REI, PepsiCo, Hi-Key, and many other market leaders. We provide strategic brand and design services for leading brands in the food, wellness, beverage, and fitness industries. So if your goal is to increase market share, drive growth, or I'm going to say crush the marketplace with new and innovative ideas, give us a call and let's talk. You can find out more at retail-voodoo.com. Well, today I'm excited to introduce Sara, who is a marketing executive with 25 years experience leading marketing campaigns, brands, and businesses in the consumer products industry. Currently, Sara Gelenberg-Field is the Chief Marketing Officer for Mommy's Bliss, a fast-growing, nationally distributed line of products focused on family health and wellness. Prior to Mommy's Bliss, Sara served as Vice President and Head of Marketing for Nestle Coffee Partners, a division of Nestle USA. At Nestle, Sara was responsible for leading an organization that developed marketing and brand strategies for iconic consumer brands, including a little brand called Starbucks, Nescafe, Chameleon Cold Brew, and Teavana, all favorites in this household for sure. Okay, Sara is a passionate developer of people, teams, and talent, and she has led several DE&I initiatives, including in committees for Nestle's Gender Balance Network Employee Resource Group. You have done a lot. Now, before we do the official hellos, let's start with a shout out to Karen Ha, who I interviewed on my podcast about 2 years ago. She introduced Sara and I together a while ago. And Karen is a fractional marketer and general manager for CPG firms. She's located right here in Seattle, Washington, and has worked with some iconic brands herself. If you want to find out what she's up to right now, check out her LinkedIn profile. You can find her under Karen Hutt. That's H-U-H. And you will want to be connected with her. She's good people. All right. Well, welcome, Sara. How are you today?
Oh, thank you, Diana. Thank you so much for inviting me to be part of your podcast. I'm just thrilled to be here and looking outside, and it just started pouring rain. So even better to be inside talking to you.
Yes. Well, Seattle, I don't have rain in my neighborhood. Where are you?
I am up near the middle school, so just south of 75.
Oh, you are near me. That's right. I forgot. We're neighbors. Wait, that's right. I'm looking at my notes here. Our girls were in the same Girl Scout troop. So yeah, it's so funny. So you're raining and I'm not yet. So it's coming my way. I'll just be paying attention to that.
Be there any minute.
Well, thanks. If you could hold that off, that'd be great. Okay. Well, a lot has happened since we connected last summer, and some of those things we're going to cover today. But I'm very glad to have you here. And I think I think a lot of people on this podcast may not have heard of Mommy's Bliss. So I'm going to start out with the first question I like to ask everybody. You're at Mommy's Bliss. Tell us a little bit about the brand and what it stands for.
Yeah, it's a great story. So first I'll start by sharing a little bit about the brand. We are a health and wellness company. We are focused on vitamins and supplements for babies, but also for moms in pre and postnatal stages of life, and kids as well. And our focus is on family health and wellness.
I see.
We have products that are distributed at Target and Walmart and Walgreens and CVS and available on Amazon. And we've been around for, next year will be our 25th anniversary as a company and a brand. So we've been on this journey of helping parents for nearly a quarter of a century.
That's a big 25 years in the naturals space, because I consider you guys kind of a naturals brand. Is that inappropriate? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Particularly with children and babies is a big deal. That's a congratulations on. I hope that you'll be sharing a little bit about some sneak peeks of year 25. I'm sure there's something big coming up to celebrate. But before we get too far into that, the founding story is pretty awesome. There are a lot of steps to it. Maybe not so much your story to tell, but you can give us a peek inside. Give us a little bit of that backstory and how that backstory is kind of embedded in the brand right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yasmin Kadarali is our CEO, and she's been leading the company for a little over a decade now. She took over leadership of the company. Her mom actually founded the company. Her mom was a certified midwife and nurse practitioner, raising 3 kids of her own, and realized that there was a need for a remedy that she had used in her practice, which is gripe water. It is an herbal supplement. It has some great ingredients in it, including tummy soothing ginger and fennel extract. And realized that there weren't a lot of gripe water options available on the market. And so she launched her own. And almost 25 years later, we've expanded into quite a few more products for babies, as well as I mentioned, for moms and kids. This is a company that's rooted in mom wisdom and compassion for the experience of parents. And our CEO, she is a mom herself of 2 young boys. And everything that we do, everything that we approach every day on our brand and our business is rooted in the wisdom of our team, which is largely comprised of parents and women who are moms, which is that informs how we show up to work every single day, how we support each other, and how we think about the brand.
Mom wisdom. I love that. And mom wisdom is handed down, right? It's not something that you necessarily we all learn lots of things. Our culture today, we don't have those communities like we used to, but I'm going to ask a really bonehead question. I feel like I should know this. Gripe water.
Yeah.
I don't know I've heard of it for years, but I don't know what it's used for.
Yeah, it's used to help babies who are experiencing colic, fussiness, hiccups. It's a soother. It's a tummy soother.
Oh, okay.
So it's a liquid supplement that you can administer to a very young baby, I think as young as 2 weeks old, through a dropper. And it helps calm the baby down and usually settles their stomach. So it's powerful. And I've heard from so many moms who have found gripe water, and it's been a game changer for them in terms of caring for their baby.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Thank you for that. Well, you have spent your fair share of time with some major CPGs like Procter & Gamble, Starbucks, and Nestle, of course. And you joined this brand in 2022, correct? Just in the last year? Or
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was it about this brand that took you from the big guys that I'm not saying Mommy's Bliss is small, but compared to those guys, it's pretty small. What was it that brought you there?
Yeah, it was a couple of things. I think first and foremost, it was the team, the CEO, Yasmin.
Mm-hmm.
She is incredibly purpose-driven in how she shows up as a leader and how she thinks about the brand. And I wanted to work for a mission-driven, purpose-driven company.
Yeah.
And I'm a mom myself, and working for a brand that I can really relate to, and I understand the benefits of it. Like, just something clicked for me, and I said, this is what I want to do right now at this point in my career. So just coming in and joining just an amazing team of people who support one another and who are working on a brand that we can all relate to and find help in is it's just so satisfying at this point in my career to be able to bring my experience to something that I care passionately about.
Yeah. I'm curious, tactically the systems are different. You don't have the redundancies. You probably don't have the budgets. There's probably operationally, there's a lot of difference between what you came from, what you're coming to. Those are kind of the expected changes. But when you think of leadership or being led, I always like when people like yourself can kind of share. There's so many people that I know that work at big CPG that are wanting to work for a smaller organization, mission driven organization. And there's some things that people should know about how the environment shifts and what kind of leadership skills or levers you need to pull on that are different. Can you talk about anything that you have noticed that has changed within you from your leadership style since, I mean, I know it's only been a year, but still, I'm sure a lot has changed.
Yeah, no, it's a really good question. I think being more resourceful is just a big thing that changes from going from a large company or large companies like P&G, Starbucks, Nestle. We had a lot of resources that we were able to access, and we had bigger budgets. So being creative in how we use our resources and being scrappy and nimble and agile, those are the, I think, qualities that I find myself tapping into more and more at a smaller company. But I also find myself so much closer to the consumer, so much closer to the actual marketing that we're doing, closer to the strategies, because we're a small, nimble, lean, mean team. And I'm touching more of the marketing and the strategy every single day, versus working through the politics and the layers of a larger company. Like, we're on the ground rolling up our sleeves doing good marketing every single day. And so that's a shift as well, going to a smaller company.
Yeah.
For me personally, it's like super satisfying, because that's what I love doing, is getting in there, rolling up my sleeves and figuring out, okay, how do we make the most of what we have, and how do we connect with the consumer, and what's going on with the consumer today that might be different than what was happening tomorrow, and finding ways to connect.
I would love to kind of push a little bit on that connecting with the consumer, because I think it depends on that little phrase right there means something so completely different depending on size of the organization. So when you say connecting with the consumer now compared to connecting with the consumer in a previous life, what does that literally mean for you?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I view part of my job as the CMO of the company to get some insights from consumers every single day. And so for me, connecting is, I'm looking at the comments on our Instagram page every day. I'm looking to see what posts resonate. I am checking on a regular basis, like, what's selling well on our website, what's selling well on Amazon. We're doing research. We have some quick, nimble research tools that we can send a poll out to our community and get quick feedback. So looking at that, looking what they say, diving into that. So there are a number of different ways that we have to stay connected to our consumer. And then I think the other one is just going around the internet every day, just kind of looking at what kind of conversations are out there about parenting. What are moms saying? What's the insights that they're talking about? So it's all of that. And I have more time working for a company like this to be able to do that. And I think it's really powerful.
Super interesting. So what I would say is, all right, I'm in school getting my MBA, so I'm making some comparisons in my brain. So if we were to compare, within a larger organization, a CMO would not be in the weeds like that. So sounds like you really enjoy not just driving the strategy and mentoring a team, but you want to be in the weeds. You want to be in the nitty gritty. And Mommy's Bliss is allowing you that opportunity in a way that a really large organization would not. You would be more steering and mentoring and looking a lot of spreadsheets.
Yeah, I still do look at a lot of spreadsheets.
I'm sure you do.
Great. And I want to empower my team, so I try not to get too into the weeds.
Yeah.
But the one area where I do like to dive into is the consumer. Like, to me, that's super important. And that informs our strategy, along with several other key elements of what we're trying to do with the business. And So that is the area where I think it is worth
Yes.
diving deep,
Yeah.
and then giving my team the tools and the resources and the space that they need
Yeah.
to move their parts of the business forward.
Love it. Now, I always like to get a little bit of journey. I didn't put this on our preparation sheet here, but this path to Mommy's Bliss, like you started in a PR firm. Like I
Mhm.
think that was might have been job number one. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes. Long way since then. I wonder if there are any uh, moments along your journey that you can, as you're looking back, can identify that kind of took you to this path to that brought you to Mommy's Bliss. Like I don't know if there was like, oh, I don't want to do this, or I really like this, or I'm not even sure what that might be. Can you think of anything that you're like, yeah, these major milestones were the ones that drove me here?
Yeah. Yeah, I've reflected on that a lot as I've looked back on my career. And yeah, I've gotten that question before.
Mm-hmm.
I think there were a couple of key moments that led me to
Mm-hmm.
where I am today. I started my career in marketing working for a public relations firm, and my clients were CPG companies. So that was my kind of entry into looking at consumer products
Uh-huh.
and that world. And I remember having a conversation with one of my clients, and she was explaining where PR fit into her entire business mix, and PR was one component, but she was also thinking about all the different elements of marketing, and then she was thinking about the 4 P's of marketing. She was thinking about price. She was thinking about how her products were going to get promoted and so
Mm-hmm.
on. And I said, whoa, that's really interesting. You're driving a mini business for your brand within a larger
Yeah.
organization. And I said, I want to do that. And she said, well, go get your MBA. So speaking of MBAs, and then, call me. So that's exactly what I did. I went and got my MBA, and then I went to go work for the Gillette company, that same company that I was talking to the brand manager at.
Oh.
And within a few months of that, we were purchased by Procter and Gamble, and so
Mm-hmm.
I became part of the P&G family.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a really pivotal moment that I said, "Whoa, this notion of brand management and looking at all elements of a business driven by brand was super compelling to me, and that's what I wanted to do." So
Mm-hmm.
that's what led me to Gillette and P&G, and then I just got amazing. I learned from amazing leaders at
Yeah.
P&G and Gillette. I was, lucky enough to get some amazing training and just foundational knowledge of how to manage a brand, how to run a business, the importance of consumer insights. And that really was what led me on my journey to then go work for Starbucks. When Starbucks contacted me and said, we have a CPG opportunity, I was like,
Yes.
are you kidding me? Like, one of my favorite brands, and
Dream.
I'm getting to do what I love.
Mm.
And that brought me to Seattle. And then that part of Starbucks was acquired by Nestle. And so then I had another opportunity to work for another major iconic company in the CPG space. And after, 10 years in the coffee business, I just realized it was time to do something a
Something
little
different.
bit different and
Mm-hmm.
explore another opportunity. And after 15, 20 years of working for large companies, I said, I think it'd be really interesting to go work for a smaller company, a
Yeah.
growing brand,
Yeah.
a mission-driven organization. And so
Yeah.
that's what led me to Mommy's Bliss.
I love that. I love that. Are there any, when you look back, are there a couple of moments that you're out in the, I guess, outside of family? I always want to look at it professionally, because any moments that you're most proud of, launch of a product or turning around of a brand or anything like that?
Yeah, there was a brand that I worked on in Starbucks. You might be familiar with Via instant
Yes.
coffee that
Oh, were
Starbucks
you
has.
part of that?
Yeah, I wasn't part of the initial launch, but there
Okay.
was a period, a couple of years after the launch,
Mm-hmm.
where we had an opportunity. We had a great launch, and then we saw some declines in
Right.
sales, and we knew that it was such an amazing product. We just had to get it in the hands of more people.
Right.
And my team pulled together and we looked at all aspects of the business. We looked at pricing, we looked at packaging, we looked at who we were targeting from a consumer perspective.
Sure.
And within 9 months, we were able to change the trajectory of our business from a couple of years of decline to growth. And that was one of the most satisfying experiences, not just in seeing the results, but pulling together as a team and getting really creative on how we were going to move the needle.
Via that, I remember that journey. I remember the launch, and then I remember the little dip, and then it just kind of took off after you and your team did some really remarkable work. I thought it was so interesting for me because, when Starbucks came out, that the type of product that Via was, although not nearly the quality, was what was all that was available in the marketplace. So it was super interesting to kind of go, okay, well, let's just take a different bent on this. Can we crank the quality up? Can we make it more user friendly? Can we, not burn the tar out of it? So that's a fun project to hear about and to know that you were part of. Wonderful. Now, I wonder if you have any mentors that you are working with that have been with you through this journey. Sometimes mentors come and go, and other times people stick with us for the long haul, and how they might be participating in your world right now.
Yeah, I was thinking about this question before, and it was kind of a no-brainer to me. I've had two really important mentors in my career, both people who were my bosses and then stuck with me and I've kept in touch with and maintained relationships with. The first one, his name is Sunny Jane, and he was my manager at P&G back in, I'm trying to remember. It was when I was pregnant with my second daughter. So it would have been like 2008, 2009 time period. And he and I'm having lunch with him tomorrow. So,
oh, you are?
Yeah. I mean, years later, we have maintained regular contact. We both left P&G. We've gone to work for a variety of different companies over those years. But we've kept in regular touch, and he's always been a great, just a champion and a cheerleader for me, and a great source of advice and wisdom based on his career, but just a good sounding board. And I've, gone to him when I've had to make career choices or have had a tough business issue that I wanted to work through, or a team leadership question. And he's always been willing to pick up the phone. He's never stingy with his time. As busy as he is in his own career, he is always willing to talk and connect and support me, which has been just amazing.
Yeah, I find that, it would be no surprise. I've interviewed darn near 250 women, and it's all of mentors just become embedded in our lives. That's just kind of how it goes. That's why they become mentors. I don't know what comes first, the friendship or the guidance, or maybe it just happens simultaneously. But
yeah, it's like it happens both. And then the second one was also my manager. He and I met at Starbucks, but we didn't cross paths at P&G, but we both came from P&G. And so when we worked together at Starbucks, it was like we kind of talked the same language and we were on the same page.
Yeah.
He, again, like very similar to Sunny, his name was Bruce Katzman. He was just a champion and a supporter, and went to bat for me when I needed it. He, cleared barriers when we were trying to get something done in a large organization. He was always, the first to stand up and say, I totally get what you're saying. Let's do that. That's a great idea. Provided me with some great coaching and advice that ultimately made me a better leader. He and I still keep in touch as well. And he's been really instrumental. Yeah, there were times too when I went to him and I said, my work-life balance is a little bit off right now. And he was like, what can I do to help?
Oh my gosh.
And, I was nervous to have those conversations because I was concerned that it would come across as Sarah's not committed as much to her career. And that was not the case. But I needed a better or different balance in my life. I was just feeling like I was not successful in all fronts, and I just needed to do some things to shift.
Yeah.
And I actually went to him one day and I said, look, we just had a 3-day weekend. It was like a game changer for me. I feel like weekends are too short. 2 days is not enough to manage a busy family. And so I said, could I just have some more 3-day weekends? Like maybe every other weekend is a 3-day weekend for me. And can we try that for a couple of months and check in and see how it goes? And, we can reduce my salary and I'll be on a 90% schedule. But he was like, of course we can try that. Like, let's do it. And it was an absolute game changer for me.
Wow. I love that. That is so fantastic. I was one of the women that I interviewed. Her name is Tanu Gurwal. She is the CMO of a company called The Art of Green, which is a newish brand that's come out in the home care product line, green, natural, organic cleaning. And she posted something on LinkedIn recently where it talks about the shame that women executives have around hiring domestic help in order for them to participate in business the way that they want to. So I think it's a really big dialogue that there isn't one answer to resolving it. For some people, like for Sarah, having a 3-day weekend every other weekend is exactly what she needs. For somebody like me, I hired myself last year as part of my first year in my MBA program. We had to kind of come up with a personal project. And I said, I want to hire Alice, Alice from the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
I wanted an Alice. And I had an Alice by June. And now I tell everybody about it. She's only here 2 days a week, but oh my goodness.
Game changer.
Game changer. And I think talking about this is really, really important. And it is scary talking about, I can talk about it with another woman and I feel like it's okay. I may feel a little bit of judgment, but I have a harder time talking about it in a gen pop kind of format. But if I'm still responsible for majority of the household and I want to be able to progress professionally, it's got to give somewhere, because otherwise it's going to be my heart or my liver or what, some part of my body.
So
good
true.
for you. Good for you. And good for your mentor for coaching you through that. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, when we're talking about other people on this journey and somebody maybe who's wanting to move from a big CPG to a smaller organization, or maybe they just want to stay in a multinational and ladder their way up, what sort of guidance do you find yourself giving people about your journey?
I think as I've reflected on the change from working for huge companies to going to a smaller company, it's not for somebody who can't roll up their sleeves. You got to jump in, and if there's a gap on the team, you got to fill the gap. Whereas, a larger company might have the resources to bring somebody in to do that work, or might have access to, external resources that you can quickly fill in. So that's rolling up your sleeves is one thing. And really being committed to the outcome. I mean, with a smaller company, everybody has an impact on the outcome. And, it felt kind of cliche early in my career. I would hear people say over and over again, we are all leaders. It doesn't matter whether you're a people manager or not, we are all leaders. I think it's even more true at a smaller organization. Everybody needs to be a leader and be willing to speak up for the right thing to do for the business, and just drive that transparency that helps us solve problems faster, get things done quicker, and be true to the brand. So those are a couple of pieces of advice that I would give to somebody contemplating. But I will say it's I love it. I'm so glad I made the leap. It's just been really exactly what I needed and wanted at this point in my career.
That's awesome. I love that. Thank you. Now, I'm wondering, I want to talk about like what's next for you and Mommy's Bliss. But within that same vein, I kind of want to talk about the category that Mommy's Bliss is in because COVID, I think, opened the eyes to a lot of new consumers about alternative ways of caring for themselves, whether it was illness or stress management or other types of tools. From what you've seen so far at Mommy's Bliss, is this category, particularly for the age group that you're in, is there the kind of growth in that age group as there is in the rest of the category? And how are you seeing just far more new consumers or the same consumers purchasing more?
Yeah, that's another really good question. I think in the parenting space, there's always new consumers coming in because every year you're having new babies. And so we want to make sure that we're finding ways to connect with people who may not have heard our brand, but have just become new parents. So that's we're always welcoming new consumers into our brand. But to your point about COVID too, I think, and this is more just my experience almost as a parent, there was a time before COVID where I was more focused on problem solution, getting remedies to problems. So my kid has a cough, so I'm going to go buy cough syrup. Or, pick your problem and you go find a remedy and you solve the problem. I think COVID opened our eyes to proactive solutions, immunity boosting vitamins, melatonin to help maintain sleep patterns or to help get back on track. Things like that, just multivitamins in general to keep ourselves healthy and make sure that we're getting what we need every single day. And so that's where we've seen some growth for our brand and our business is, getting into those types of solutions for moms and for kids and having both reactive solutions. So if, problem, we'll help you fix it. We've got the highest quality ingredients and, all of our solutions have been informed by our own experiences as parents, but we've also got those proactive solutions to maintain your family's health and wellness and address immunity and multivitamins and supplements as well. So I love that we have the balance of both and we're there with solutions regardless of the need.
Well, so we're talking about growth in this category, growth for this particular consumer. Mommy's Bliss 25-year anniversary. Is there anything that we can look forward to? Anything? I'm not sure. I'm just going to say, what do we have to look forward to? What can you share with us about year 25?
Yeah, we're continuing over the next year and leading up to our 25th anniversary in 2024. We'll be launching new products. And so you can continue. Last year we launched a line of eczema products for babies. Eczema lotion, eczema spot treatment, and we also have probiotic drops that can help support skin health. We're going to be expanding our eczema line this year. So that's one area to look at. And we've got some other cool new product launches coming this year. And then, it's interesting. Health and wellness is such a broad area. And where we come in is we bring in products and solutions from our own experiences with the highest quality ingredients. There is a lot of runway for products that meet that need.
Really?
And we're working on a pretty robust pipeline of new products. But we're also working on updating and modernizing our brand look and feel. And so that'll be coming out later this year.
Nice.
So you'll see that on our website and some other places as well.
That's exciting. Yeah, and a big project because you have a number of SKUs. So I can respect the work that needs to go into making that just right. Well, Sarah, I'm really enjoying our conversation. Our time is almost up, but I have a couple of last questions I like to ask everybody, kind of a non sequitur, so I like to break it up this way. maybe you have I'll call it a fun happy hour fact or some tip that you've learned at Mommy's Bliss that you can share with all of us.
Oh gosh, fun happy hour fact. I was just talking about this in a meeting earlier. So my kids are teenagers, and I have found that gripe water, which people associate for calming or soothing a baby's tummy troubles, is great for hiccups for teenagers. And
Are you kidding?
Oh yeah, I am not kidding. And my kids, it feels like every few days, one of them is complaining about having the hiccups, and they take a couple of drops of gripe water and
that's it.
Yeah.
All right. I like that. Something to add to my kit, my home remedy kit. I like that. Thank you. Okay. And then I love it when my guests can elevate any women leaders or rising stars out in the industry, in our industry or not, that you just simply want to elevate or admire for the work that they're doing right now.
I love that you asked this question, because I can't think of anything better to do than support and elevate other women, which is exactly what you're doing with this platform. I have to give a shout out to my sister, Rebecca Gelenberg, who is Chief People Officer for a company called Upstart. And she's been a mentor of mine in many ways. She's my younger sister, but I look to her for so much. And she's really been a rising star. She strikes a wonderful balance as a leader, as she's smart, she's savvy, she's thoughtful, she's caring, she's direct. And I just admire her and have learned so much from her as I've seen her career grow and progress. And I feel very lucky to be her sister.
Oh, man. That might be the best shout out. Not disrespecting anybody else's, but that's pretty sweet.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, man. Well, we have been talking with Sara Gelenberg-Field, Chief Marketing Officer of Mommy's Bliss. Sara, where can people learn more about you and your company?
Oh, I would love for them to go visit mommysbliss.com. Check out our portfolio of products, especially if you're a parent or you know somebody who's a parent. And you can find me on LinkedIn.
Awesome. And will you be at Expo West?
I sure will be. Yep, we have a booth. We are working on the design of our booth as we speak. So yeah, please come find me at Expo West.
Big project. Excellent. Okay, well, thank you so much for your time today, Sara. Very happy to have finally gotten to record our episode together. I know you've been super busy, and I look forward to seeing what you all are up to in this new launch and what year 25 looks like. And I want to thank you, listeners, for your time today. If you like this episode, please share it with a friend. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day, and we'll catch you next time on the Gooder Podcast.
Produced by Heartcast Media.